dear devotees in the Dhamma. So now we are going to practice the purification of mind throughout this retreat. And this is why you are here. You have given up everything that you were interested in your day life, and kind of you have managed to renounce all of that, your job, your husband, your wife, your food that you like to eat, watching the TV, whatever. You have kind of let go of all that and have managed to come to participate in this retreat to purify the mind. So most of you actually have got the taste of it. What Buddha pointed out is that we actually get a greater happiness, or we can experience a lot of happiness and peace if we can manage to purify our mind. What Buddha pointed out is a pure mind is what gives happiness and peace to oneself. But since we are born, we being taught to find happiness, which is a kind of a very temporary base, through indulging in our senses, or satisfying our senses and indulging in these sensual activities. So we being led up to now to believe blindly that this is how we can find happiness and peace of mind. So we have tried all kinds of things to find that peace and happiness. We have followed many desires that come to our mind, and we have tried to fulfill them. But if you look back, you will find that there was nothing really could make you feel 100% satisfied. There was some unsatisfactoriness with whatever we did. So you look back and reflect now, you will see no matter how many desires you have been trying to follow, try to fulfill, still you are unhappy. And to great extent, some of you have managed to fulfill your desires, your dreams, but still you are unhappy. Still you lack something. You feel there's something missing in your life. And this is why actually we ended up in this place, to find for something, to find something greater, to find some satisfactoriness within us, to find some fullness in us. Because no matter what we have been doing up to now hasn't given all that what we were looking for, that satisfactoriness, the fulfillment, the happiness, the peace, we still haven't got it. And if you look into the other people's lives also, probably you can see that people who have got everything that the others wish for, like money, the fame, the power and all of that, who have got it to a level where they feel there's no more they can do. They have reached their heights in their whatever the respective fields they are in. So you look into people's lives in that category, people who you thought were successful people, you will find, to your surprise, that they still have a lot of unhappiness, lot of disturbances in their lives. I can take one example. You take Michael Jackson. You know, he had billions, he had mansions, he had everything that a normal person would wish for. But we all know that he didn't have any happiness or any peace in his mind, to the extent even that he could not even enjoy a good sleep that a normal person would. You know, when you go to sleep, sometimes we find that it's peaceful. When we wake up, we find it's fresh and it's something to look forward to. There is some peace, sense of peace that you get from a good sleep. But he even missed that. So you can see, no matter how successful you can be from the outside, from the materialistic side, a person can be left so unhappy, so lonely, so disturbed inside. So this is actually what Buddha was showing to us, that all these outside things, the material things, and trying to fulfill our desires and chasing after them will not bring happiness. So he pointed out, more you try to do that, more you try to follow your five senses and try to stimulate them and try to gain happiness, what happens is actually a lot more unhappiness comes on your way, but it's in a hidden way and you haven't realized that. But when Buddha got enlightened, he realized that, and he taught the world how to find the real happiness, how to gain the real peace in your mind. So, when we observe the five precepts, what we are actually observing is really, we are altering our behavior from our focus to follow our desires, try to fulfill our desires. From that, we actually start to stop doing all that. We start to see the relationship between these sensual activities or trying to gain pleasure from these sensual activities and what's really coming on our way. So we do understand theoretically, because Buddha have taught us, but now it's the time for you all to experience it for yourselves. So you're observing the five precepts and you're refraining from indulging in your senses or the sensual pleasures. So when you do that, and when you're in the retreat, all you're going to do is just be happy with whatever that's being provided to you and just keep purifying your mind. And then at the end of the retreat, then you will realize actually what Buddha is talking, how accurate he is in pointing out how we can find the real happiness and peace. Because now this will become your own experience. So this is the time for you all to test it out. So for people who have been practicing before, you know that. And this is why you keep coming for the retreats, giving up all that worldly things, because you get something greater here. For the new ones, make this an opportunity for you all to test this out, to find the real happiness within you. That's already within you, this happiness and peace. All this time we didn't know that. We were actually going the opposite direction to find peace and happiness, and that's why we never found it. So this is a good opportunity for all of you to make use of, to understand these teachings within yourselves, with that understanding coming from yourselves, because this is what you're going to experience during this retreat if you practice this properly. So in 8 precepts, the first one that we recited is called Pāṇātipātā Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyāmi. That means we refrain from hurting or harming any living being. And Adinādānā Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyāmi means that we refrain from taking anything that doesn't belong to us. We start to develop respect to the life, and also we start to respect to the belongings of other people. Instead of trying to destroy, trying to bring a lot of unhappiness and suffering to others, now we start to practice refraining from bringing hurt and harm to the others. And this we do with the understanding that myself, I don't like to suffer, I don't like to be unhappy, I don't like anyone to inflict any suffering on me, I don't like to get hurt, I don't like to get be in a unsafe environment, be in danger. I don't like all that. So in the same way, we know that others also don't like this kind of negative things, negative feelings, and they also don't like to be unhappy and to suffer. So therefore, with that understanding, what we do, we refrain from inflicting any unhappiness or suffering or hurt or harm or damage to another being. So we do it not with a selfish motive, but with a selfless kind of a motivation, thinking about the others and understanding the others. We do it so we respect others and their belongings and their feelings, and we try to live in a way inflicting non-violence. We live our life based on a non-violent base. The third one also, normally when you recite the 5 precepts, it's Kāmesu Miccāchāra. That means not to find any pleasure through wrong behavior or through misconduct. But now when you are in the this program, when you have taken 8 precepts, it's being changed to Abrahmacharya. That means now you don't even indulge in any sexual activity to find any pleasure. You will refrain from indulging in any act that's going to bring pleasure to you using these 5 senses. So that's the third one. The fourth one is about refraining from wrong speech. So in this retreat, you are well guarded because this is a silent retreat. So as long as you don't speak, you will not engage in lying or slandering or talking any unwholesome talk, or talking frivolously, or engaged in some empty talk. But all of this will not take place because now you're practicing noble silence. So this actually guards you a lot in your lay life. Normally we do a lot of wrong things through our speech. because of our inability to understand the other person, their feelings, and also not being able to see whatever we say, whatever the words that we are going to put out to the world will have an effect onto the other person, either positively or negatively. And most of the time our speech is negative. This is why we have so much of problems out there. But in this retreat you are well guarded. So please try to keep noble silence, and you don't have to worry about this part. And then the next one is also talking about refraining from taking intoxicants. So we don't provide any alcohol or liquor or any drugs, and I hope you haven't brought them with you. So again, you're well protected here, because you will not get a chance to indulge in that kind of activity. It's very important that we understand why Buddha had asked us to refrain from taking these liquors, alcohols and drugs. That's because they will lead you to be unmindful. So what we are trying to do here is actually to train ourselves to be mindful, develop our mindfulness, because that's one of the main things that we do need in order to purify our mind. So with this fifth precept, during this retreat, I don't think you all have to worry about much. All you have to do is try to cultivate your mindfulness throughout the day as much as you can, and that will help you in this path. Developing mindfulness will help you to purify your mind. The sixth one is called refraining from taking food after the afternoon. So we take our lunch or the dana at noon time, then after that we don't take any food at all, any solid at all. Normally this is another area where people actually used to indulge in food. They try to find pleasure through using this food. No longer that we eat to live. The society has kind of moved into the way that we live to eat. You can see how much money we spend on food, and throughout the day actually we indulge in food. Whenever there is a desire, we try to follow it. And you can see what it has brought today. Those days we had a problem with malnutrition and people not having enough food. But nowadays the biggest problem is the obesity and overeating. So this happens because we have started to indulge in food without understanding why we take food. Why we take food is just to keep our life alive. That's kind of our fuel that keeps your body and your mind alive. It gives you the energy. So to take that energy, we take this food. So we can try to achieve the purpose of our life. But today it seems like we have forgotten the purpose of life. Also, we forgot why we are taking food. So what happens? We just have become slaves to the food, and at the end what we have got is a very unhealthy society facing with a lot of health problems. A lot of the health problems are today, they have managed to relate them to the wrong food habits. So when we take this precept, it's pretty much you're doing it with understanding. You're cutting off the indulgence part in the food, and you only take the food with the understanding that you're taking it. This is what the contemplation you just did in the morning, food contemplation. You take it to get rid of the hunger that's been arisen, and not to bring any new discomfort into your body, but you just eat moderately to find that comfort, to get rid of that hunger that was already there, and also to find energy to keep practicing, not to beautify your body, not to build up your muscles, not to use it to sing or dance or jump up and down, but just to live a holy life and to practice. This is why you're taking the food when you are in this retreat. So do it with understanding. So hopefully then when you go back, you can still practice this. For sure you can have a meal at night, but at least you can have your food with understanding, and that will help you all to do it with meaning, and then it will help you to live a healthy life. So what we are going to do throughout this retreat is to cut off all that unnecessary intake of food. It's very well known, actually we don't have to eat so much as we do. More we eat actually brings a lot of problems to the body. So if we can find that optimum level, how much food that we really need, that minimum, if we can stay with that, it will help you a lot. So from the ancient time, Buddha actually had taught the Sangha, his disciples, to have this minimum amount of food. And so we have this discipline where we take something in the morning and at noon time. Then after that, there's no need for us to actually have food to keep our energy levels, to keep our life alive. No need to have any more food. And it's being proven for 2,500 years. This is how the Sangha has been living, with 1 or 2 meals a day. And they happen to be actually very healthy, and some of them living even to 80s, 90s and 100, even 120, because there is a big factor to that, cutting off the unnecessary food. And when you actually cut off this food, what happens? It helps you all to focus. When we eat, all the bloodstream actually go into our stomach to assimilate all the food parts and take the nutrition into your body. But if we can do it just once or twice, then after 1 or 2 hours, when the food has been digested, after that you have a lot of blood that's circulating around your brain, and that will help you all to stay awake and to practice mindfulness. That's another benefit. And you may also have felt when you have food, you feel sleepy, and that's the reason. So when we actually cut off all this unnecessary food intake, it will help you all to stay awake, because this sleepiness also becomes one of the major problems when you start to meditate. But if you can control your food, you will find you can actually find a balance, and it will help you all to stay awake. So when we take food throughout this retreat, make sure you take it with understanding, but not with desire for the food, and also not with any hatred to the food. Have a balanced mind, and during the lunchtime I will teach you, I will point out to you certain things regarding how to take the food in a way that you can make it a meditation too, and you can keep purifying your mind while you doing that. The next precept is about Nacha, Gita, Vadita. Nacha means dancing, Gita means singing, Vadita means playing, music and all that. Nacha, Gita, Vadita. Visuka Dasana Mala, seeing the shows or the movies or even humorous things or the jokes. Visuka Dasana, Mala Gandha Vilepana means adorning your body with the flowers. Those days, I don't think they had much makeup, but what they were doing is actually putting flowers all over you as a garland or putting them on your head, and that was one of the ways to beautify yourself. And Vilepana means the things that you apply on your nails or your face or whatever, and the perfumes. Gandha Vilepana Dharana Mandala. Okay, so what you're saying there is you will refrain from all kinds of acts that will help to indulge in your bodily senses, either to beautify it or to bring pleasure through your eyes, through your ears, through your nose, and through your bodily senses. So here we are trying to refrain from all that. Now today you all are here with white. See, we are not even wearing garments to please our senses. Normally we wear things, we call it for fashion. That means it's for us to kind of indulge in what we wear. But in this retreat, why you do things is with understanding, because you understand there is a need. To look after the need, you do things. So we understand that to cover our body is essential. We want to cover our private parts, and also we want to keep our body warm, and also to keep our body protected from the too much of heat, too much of cold, wind, and from the flies and the insects. So we cover our body. So you do it with meaning, not with fashion or not wanting to indulge in your senses or what the senses are asking. Normally we do things even without knowing. When our eye says, you have a desire and your eye says, I want this, I want that, after seeing something, normally we go and buy that, and we even don't know why we bought it. But in this retreat, we try to be mindful of what's actually going through within us, what kind of messages that comes through to our mind, how our senses are trying to pull us in this direction or that direction. So in this retreat, we have kind of control the environment. You are doing things with understanding, and there is not much choices to your senses actually to pull you in many other directions, to bring out a lot of desires, because we have cut them down. We are not having a TV here, we don't have any other fancy things, colorful things. If we had, you can see how your mind will react to them. Through the senses, the message will go to your mind, and then the desires or the hatred happens, and this is how you were caught up out there. But now in here we have cut down all that unnecessary things, and it's more or less a controlled environment, and you're pretty much protected, and all you have to do is be aware of, and also to understand why you're doing certain things in a certain way, because some of the things we can't cut off. We have to do it because it's necessary and it's a need. So with the clothes also, you must understand why we are wearing just white is because we do need to wear something, and we do it in the simplest way, simplest form, not arousing our senses, not letting the senses take us for a ride. And the other one is called Uttarasayana Mahasayana, means You refrain from looking for luxurious seats and the beds. This is another area where we try to indulge through our five senses. You know how developed is the furniture industry today. You know, people don't buy just a normal chair to sit, but they have to buy certain way of cushions. They have to buy a certain bed that gives them maximum comfort. But here we actually try to go to the basics. Why we need a chair is just to relax and to sit. Why do we need a bed or a place to sleep? Is to rest. So we go back to that basic need, and we use the chair or the cushion or the mattress that you use to sleep with the understanding that it's there just for you to have to relax, but not to look for luxury or the comforts. I'm sure you all know, some of you may have those beds and pillows which you have spent thousands of dollars, but sometimes if you don't have a calm mind, you can't actually go to sleep no matter how expensive your bed or the cushion or the mattress is. And as I was talking to you, the Michael Jackson, he had one of these most expensive beds, lounges, but did he manage to have a good night's sleep using them? No. So the real happiness doesn't come from outside things. It really comes from your own mind. And when you start to purify your mind, you don't have to depend on these external things. And this is what we are trying to do. Cut down looking for comfort through the external things, but we try to practice and bring this happiness and comfort that we are looking for and peace that we want through our purification of mind. So 8 precepts is all about you refraining from either hurting or harming or damaging others, and either you refraining from trying to indulge in sensual pleasures. That's what it is about. Is there any questions you would like to ask about the 8 precepts that I may not have been able to explain, or it's not clear enough? Anything you would like to ask?